Samuelson, and welcome to the CineFiles, the show that allows you to eavesdrop on the conversations of fellow film fanatics. Today I'm joined with my two partners in crime, Mr. Eric Cohen and Mr. Michael Foltz. Today we're going to be discussing the Batman series, as by Chris Nolan. We've already discussed the Tim Burton and Joe Shipmaker films on a previous show. Before I do this, though, I want to say anyone who's watching this, please like our video and subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. And check out the Twitter feeds, and also check out Jeff's show, Unfinished Business. For a while, they were going with a lot of different concepts. I know one of them was by director Darren Aronofsky called Batman Year One, and it was a really weird, shitty script where Batman...
Well, it should be explained that Frank Miller did another Batman series that was kind of
After Dark Knight.
Innovative after Dark Knight, called Batman Year One, where he went back and they rethought out the Batman origin. And then Aronofsky was going to do his version of it, which sounded really odd. Where he was going to make like Bruce Wayne a mechanic and make him like a blue-collar character.
And they were very smart. They went to a director by the name of Chris Nolan, who earlier directed Memento, which got a huge amount of buzz on the indie circuit. It was a decent-size hit for an independent film. And then they did Insomnia. And watching these films, you saw a very intelligent filmmaker handling very adult material very well. And when you look at him, you go, could this man direct a Batman film? It's a very unusual choice, but you know what? It paid off very well because he went on to relaunch the series and made this series probably into the best superhero series ever.
There's a huge, all this, fan gossip on who was going to play Batman, who was going to be put in the role of Bruce Wayne, and all these names came up, and Christian Bale landed the part.
The minute I heard Christian Bale's name, I was like, this is the best casting you could possibly get, because I was not a Christian Bale fan until I saw American Psycho. After that movie, he became my favorite actor because that was one of the best performances I've ever seen.
Well, he hadn't really done a lot up to American Psycho.
I always thought of him.
I
always thought of him as the Spielberg kid from Empire of the Sun. I mean, you can't help but think that. I mean, that's the movie he was most known for.
He was in Shaft as the villain. Christian Bale is the type of actor, unlike the other guys before, and like you said before, Val Kilmer probably needed a chance to be in a better Batman, but still, Christian Bale has the chops to portray this inner turmoil and still be an effective superhero in the same sense.
Effective leading man type. I was going to say that we're talking about the comic series Batman Year One, and this is greatly influenced by that. It's almost an unofficial adaptation of Batman Year One. But I was also going to say that, the history of comic book movies from Batman and Robin up until Chris Nolan's Batman, Tim Burton kind of pushed the idea that from that point on, superhero movies had to be stylized and have an almost kind of abstract look to it and almost take place in another universe.
Like you said, the Art Deco world.
Right, and stuff like that. And then you had, Bryan Singer in the X-Men movies, right? Which was firmly grounded in that kind of comic book universe.
Somewhat
and he had really terrible ones like Daredevil, stuff like that. And then
Tim Burton Tim Burton gave the public the idea that a superhero film could be a tent-pole summer blockbuster film.
But the point I'm trying to say is that a stylistic approach to the material. When Chris Nolan convinced the powers that be, let's do a grounded approach. Let's say if Batman existed, what would Batman be like in the real world?
And he consciously did that through all three films.
Right, and it was an interesting choice, and it works. The first movie, Batman Begins, is really, really good. It's not my favorite of his three, but he lays out the groundwork for what's about to unfold in the two movies after that. Batman. The only issues I have Batman Begins is that I think there's moments where it's a little rushed through too quickly. It feels like it should be a more epic film than it actually is.
I'd say maybe the last quarter of the film, feels a little bit rushed.
It feels a little rushed, and I have a issue with Chris Nolan in general that I think he's a little overrated. That's just my opinion as a filmmaker. I think he's made some really good, interesting films, but I feel like that he and his brother, when they collaborate in screenplays together, the screenplays are always, when he tries humor, it's not funny. It falls flat to me a lot. And a lot of his stuff, he loves exposition. He loves expository dialogue.
I think number one is you got an amazing cast. I mean, you got Morgan Freeman, you got Christian Bale, you got Liam Neeson. I mean, everybody. There is not one unrecognizable face.
Well, there's one weak link, and that's Katie Holmes.
Yes, Katie Holmes is a liability. In fact, she stands out like a sore thumb. Thankfully, this would be rectified in the sequel somewhat. Cillian Murphy, I think is a terrific actor. I like him a lot in the film. My problem is they didn't develop his character enough. I feel he's not really given enough to
I
do
don't know
in the
about
film.
that. I don't know. I think they gave him enough. I think they gave him enough screen time.
I thought they were all. In fact, I would say I love Michael Caine's Alfred in this. I love how everyone decided to approach their characters in a way that you don't expect to see approached in usual comic book movies. You know, again, we're going to get into more stuff that in the sequel, but
What's funny is Michael Caine's Alfred was given more to do in this film than Michael Keaton's Batman and Batman Returns was given in that.
Indeed, and I love how they found like grounded, real-world analogs for the comic book characters. You know, like as we all know, like the Ra's al Ghul in the comic books is a supernatural character. I mean, he's like immortal, you know.
Yeah, he has
You know,
supernatural means for
and
staying
he does
immortal.
indulge in the
Right.
occult and stuff like that. Here, he's a myth.
Visually, it's impressive. The score by James Newton Howard and Hans Zimmer, hell, it's been parodied so many times lately. It's more of an atmosphere than it is a musical score, and it adds a lot, though. The suit is great. I like it.
Functional.
Functional.
Unlike the first 4 suits, this one is functional.
And I love how everything in this film is explained. Like, there's a perfect example. In the first Batman film, you know, he has this entire, like, universe, like the Batcave. Everything is perfectly, it looks like a construction crew came down there. I love in his Batcave, you know, everything is not finished. You know, you don't...
There's bats, there's water.
There's
you know,
water. There's no road
stalactites everywhere.
There's no road into the cave. Everything is thought out very well. And I love, my favorite part of the original is the relationship, not just between Alfred and Bruce Wayne, but between Morgan Freeman's Lucius Fox.
Yeah, Lucius Fox.
I love the way
Who is not a comic book character originally. He was from the Batman cartoon, the animated series.
I was going to say, the thing that I absolutely loved about Batman Begins, especially the first time I saw it, is like finally we have a Batman that's like a wraith. It's scary as hell, and that's the way he should
Another
be.
important backbone, I think, to the film is his relationship with Gary Oldman.
Oh, yeah.
I love how they had that.
Well,
relationship.
he's got,
Yes.
because even though Bruce lost his dad through this traumatic event with Joe Chill killing his parents, he has 2 very solid, stable father figures within the film.
Surrogate fathers.
But yeah,
Alfred.
Jim Gordon and Alfred.
Yeah, and Gary Oldman gives a great performance, a very, very understated performance for him, but it works very well. The next film was The Dark Knight. When Batman Begins came out, it wasn't as a big success as the studio anticipated. It made $178 million, which was not really that big of a return. But the video and the word of mouth on this thing really built up an audience for this film. It became a huge hit on video and on cable. And so when the anticipation was very high for the sequel. Now, when the Joker was announced as the villain, they cast Heath Ledger, as everyone knows, and that was an unusual choice.
Yeah, a strange choice.
Very weird choice, because every time people were thinking of someone manically, someone who's needed bipolar medication, somebody like a Jim Carrey, or somebody like a Jack Nicholson type, Heath Ledger was.
But they
anything
wanted to make him younger, to make him a contemporary of Bale.
And what is brilliant about this character is that even though it's a manic character who's really crazy, you see the Heath Ledger and you see the Jack Nicholson. You both can see they both have the same makeup. They both are crazy and wild. But the thing about it, Jack Nicholson's character is more of a comedic character who's crazy. But this character that Heath Ledger plays is psychotic crazy. And that is what is the key to this film.
I wouldn't say the same makeup.
I would say
similar makeup.
No. I would say absolutely not. I think the approach to this Joker is entirely different. I mean, I would say that Jack Nicholson was a comic book character come to life. You know, with like the permanent smile and the whole thing, and bleached skin, like they had his skin bleached white.
Well, which matched the Bob Kane.
Right. Here he was a
interpretation.
character that was scarred in the face, but he did all of his own makeup, and it was like, I love how it's like you got this impression that he slept in that makeup. He never took it off. It was just ruddy, and and you could tell his hair was never
He
washed.
said his biggest influences in this film, and it's obvious. I mean, and I like it where people say that their influence, and you can actually see it, is Alex in A Clockwork Orange, and Sid Vicious. And let me tell you, it's pretty accurate what he's doing.
There's a bit of Itchy the Killer there, too. In fact, if you look at the original makeup test, like where they're trying to figure out like concept for the Joker look, one of the looks they had was Miyake's Itchy the Killer, where we're like it's like his mouth is sliced this way but stapled shut.
This one, thankfully, we were talking about a problem I had with the original. Thankfully, this film was recast. They didn't get Katie Holmes. They got Maggie Gyllenhaal, who is a huge improvement. She's
a much better actress.
She's a
than
much
Katie
better
Holmes.
actress. She's not as good as the rest of the characters, but she's very good. She does a good job. This one became one of the highest grossing films of all time, rightfully so. When we originally did our best of the year list, I believe in 2008, we all said it was probably the best film, one of the best films we've ever seen, and I have to say, it still holds up. I just watched it again recently. This film has everything.
I still find the ending, and I said this before on our other show, I still find the ending to be a bit clunky, with the dueling
Staten Island ferries at the end. And
Yeah, that's the only issue. And the other, I realized there's a big thing. There was something else that annoyed me, like the whole scene in the party where Batman jumps off the roof to save Rachel. What happened to the rest of the guests? Because the Joker's still up there with his gang, and they never explained what happened after that.
Heath Ledger did die, they said, after he completed all the scenes. I don't know if he really completed everything he did. Maybe there was some other scenes, but as it stands, it's pretty freaking close to perfect as you can get for a superhero film. It's intelligent. It moves very well.
It's
epic.
based in the real world.
It is based in the real world. There's a wonderful chase underneath the Chicago tunnels, which is absolutely
The
amazing.
Bat Cycle is unlike the Bat Cycle is basically James Bond envy all over.
Well,
That
and
is
you
a
get
hell of a
Nolan.
gadget.
You could tell is a huge Bond fan because he has a few visual tributes.
Well,
to
yeah,
Bond
the Thunderball, the Thunderball thing right off
and
the
also
tower.
everything with Lucius Fox. It's like straight, it's like Q and Bond.
I would love to see him do a Bond film.
I said this when we discussed this film in the best of 2008. I mentioned that this is a Sidney Lumet superhero film. It's a superhero film as if it were directed by Sidney Lumet.
You're pretty right. You're actually.
It has
I
that
think you're right.
feel, that approach
Very
to a New York
very
crime
hardcore.
film.
Well,
Or
the reason,
yeah.
you know what reason?
Serpico with the cape.
Not just that, but because, like you said, we were talking about all these wonderful actors. Every person in this film is a terrific actor. I mean, this feels like a real ensemble piece. It could be like Prince of the City.
Aaron Eckhart is really solid in it, and everyone keeps talking about Heath Ledger, but Aaron Eckhart actually had probably the more difficult role to pull off because he's playing this iconic character from the comic books and never got his due in the films. And the whole film is just his build-up to becoming Two-Face, And I thought the way they handled that was very well, and they did absolutely what they needed to do.
After 4 years, we finally got The Dark Knight Rises, which is the final chapter in Chris Nolan's trilogy. It was, again, whenever casting happens in this Batman universe, it's like James Bond. Anne Hathaway is the Catwoman, very different than Michelle Pfeiffer.
Tom Hardy as Bane.
Tom Hardy is Bane.
Tom Hardy is Bane.
We did see the Bane character briefly in horrible Batman and Robin, but the less said about that, the better. Now, this film...
What's strange is the Bane from Batman and Robin looks more like the one in the comic books versus this particular Bane, which was reimagined completely.
And look.
And look, yeah.
I knew that it would be very hard to top The Dark Knight. I mean, how can you top such a great film? But this one really comes close to doing it. But there are some problems, and it's not all of Nolan's fault. Bane is a terrific character, but he pales in comparison to the Joker. The Joker was...
I don't think he's supposed to be on par with the Joker.
Yeah,
He's not on par, but he's not as memorable.
So you're saying, but I think where you're getting at is that you're saying that your issue with the third one is that the villains weren't as memorable as the first.
Well, what
because I would say that's not the problem.
Well, it's not the problem I have with it too. I mean, all right. Here's what I do like. I think that this performance of all the Batman films, we have the best performance from Christian Bale. This is his best performance in all of the entire trilogy, as far as I'm concerned.
I think I agree with that.
I like how we revisit Batman, and I see. We were talking earlier in another show about The Dark Knight Returns, the original comic book. This film really is, to me, The Dark Knight Returns. In fact, you have Batman who's old. He's been beaten up. His body is not what it once was.
He's not that old, though. He's not that much.
Well, they made
he's
10,
not.
it's 10 years old.
No. You're right.
later.
He's not old. He's
not
not.
old.
He's not the Batman from Dark Knight
That's what I'm
Returns.
saying.
That guy's got silver hair.
They
and-
can't do. That's what I'm saying. But that's what they took the idea of Batman disappearing for a long time and not being who he once was and going back to fight crime. I love that he's crippled, with his leg, and
He's not crippled, but he's definitely...
well, he is.
He's
well,
banged up.
he hasn't. Yeah, he's banged up from his experiences, and his body's a worse the wear for it, and he hasn't really done anything to rehabilitate himself.
The problem I have with the film is that it really does take a long time to find its groove. The first 45 minutes I remember watching, I was like, well, it's good, but it's not it doesn't drag me in. Then there's a certain plot point, which I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Probably everyone in the world has seen it.
But you know what? Let's warn people. We have to spoil. We're going to spoil some stuff, so you may want to turn away from their computer monitors.
Like, you know, where you see Bane toying with Batman, and it just got kind of annoying.
I think
like
I
cat
agree
and
with
mouse.
you. I think there's my problem.
And I don't agree with you.
I like Dark Knight Rises. I didn't love it. And I hate to say this, I think the reason why I liked it as much as I did is because I was so disappointed with Prometheus that I didn't want to be disappointed by something I was looking forward to again. So I kept my expectations really low for Dark Knight Rises this time. And I think there are things that are done really well in Dark Knight Rises, and I think there are things that are done very poorly in Dark Knight Rises. I think they're lazy with some screenwriting choices in this. I think I agree, where I would agree with the Bane.
Lazy or being too cute for their own good?
Not just cute for their good, it's just not thought through. Like, okay, how many times, Bane has this whole thing about his big master plan, about how he's going to take over Gotham, and he's going to first give people hope, and then he's going to crush their hopes with terror. You know? Well, we never see that happen. He just goes in there, takes over, and all he's doing is just compounding the issue, hammering with more and more terror, okay? You never see him, you know, raise the hopes of the citizens and then pull the rugs out from under their feet. That never happens.
Technically, you could say his version of giving people hope was laying siege to Wall Street.
No, I'm talking about as when you're talking about structuring a movie and you do something like you give a character an important speech. You expect to see what that character's talking about. And if nothing happens that follows through what he's saying, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, gee, that's just a character trait. I'm going to sit there and say, no, that's poor screenwriting.
But are you saying the problem is that he doesn't talk about or demonstrate this hope that he's going to give to the people?
He doesn't demonstrate what he says he's going to do. What he does not reflect what he says he's going to do to Bruce Wayne. The whole point of, like he wants to...
But what I'm trying to say is maybe his version of giving hope to the people was laying siege to Wall Street.
Why is that how does that give hope to the people?
Well, look at the Occupy Wall Street movement. You know,
yeah,
the idea of
taking
these fat cats.
This is the other thing, too. The film is so focused on the police and on the bad guys and on the criminal element that he lets loose from, you know, the asylums and the prisons. We never see like the normal people and how they're affected by it. So we have no idea what it is, how they're reacting to this.
That's an excellent point because, you know, that's something I didn't really think about, but now that you mentioned it.
And I think that Nolan was actually confused in his politics. On one point, there's like an Occupy Wall Street thing, but at the end of the day, who saves the city? It's the wealthy, powerful people that wind up saving the city. Their influence helping Bruce Wayne come in and save Gotham City.
You know,
what do you mean the wealthy and powerful
well,
people?
Who are like the little people that rose up against Bane?
But who are the wealthy and powerful people? That help
All
Bruce
the
Wayne?
people on the board of Wayne Enterprises were the people that help him out.
Fox and the French.
Well, I wouldn't call Lucius Fox. Like,
he's the chairman of the board.
And Marion.
For some reason, though, I don't really connect Lucius Fox with the wealthy and powerful people that are pretty much being...
Everybody that had a significant role in this were either cops, police officers.
Cops usually aren't wealthy and powerful,
which is fine, or it was people that were like wealthy and powerful people.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it did, dude. There was that whole scene where he goes, he needs help.
Hi, everybody.
And everybody that's on the board,
CineFiles.
it's like all these people that are like on the board of Wayne Enterprises and all that stuff. They're like being held hostage in that one room, and they're the ones that help them. The whole point of they keep trying to tell us that Batman is a symbol where he's hoping to get to a point where everybody could be Batman. Where it's just an idea, and that was the idea that would give you hope and like stand up to like, you know, injustice and all that stuff. But I didn't see any of that. All I saw was the entire Gotham City taken over. He implements his plan, and the people that actually save Gotham are like, yes, these like wealthy, influential people that are being held hostage are in a position to put Bruce Wayne.
I didn't see that. I'm sorry,
I'm just enjoying listening to this. I didn't
see that at all. That like the wealthy and powerful people.
How the hell did Bruce Wayne get back into Gotham City? How the hell he didn't have any money? Remember?
Right.
He was completely broke.
That's the problem I have with the movie.
How the hell did he become Batman again?
But for you to say that the rich and powerful were the ones that saved the city at the end, that just
How could you say that wasn't it?
That doesn't hold much water to me. I didn't look at this film and at the end go, wow, this is hypocrisy because the rich and powerful were the ones that helped the city in the first place. I didn't see that at all.
Who in this film? Okay, again, you say Occupy Wall Street. When you think Occupy Wall Street, you think people who are pissed off at Wall Street rising up against, money people, all that stuff, right? None of that was in this film.
We're having two different arguments on. You basically said the wealthy and the powerful ended up saving the city by helping out Batman, which seems like a stretch.
No, I'm responding to
the
your
other
comments
part
on
was
Occupy Wall Street. We're talking when I
But
talk
I'm
about,
responding to you in your original argument, which was Bane is offering hope and then terror, and I'm saying, well, maybe in the story, what they're saying is hope is by that's
the
how
only
you see
reason
it.
no,
sorry,
the only
guys. You
reason
guys are boring
the
me
only
with
reason why he went into the stock market to take it over was to make Wayne Enterprises penniless. That was the reason why he went in there. It had nothing to do with giving the people hope. Why would that give people hope?
He basically wanted to take over the corporation so he could get that device.
Yeah,
that's how he did it. And he wanted
right.
to hurt Bruce Wayne because he knew Bruce Wayne was Batman.
But look at how it's interpreted in the film.
It's not
also this is the way I saw it. You cannot tell me how I saw something. Now,
But where in the film does Bane say, "I'm doing this for the people"?
He's going in. But you're
You
saying
forget,
that he's
Ra's al
offering
Ghul's
hope.
whole thing was this. Ra's al Ghul, the original character, Liam Neeson's character in the original Batman, wanted to kill the entire
No, you're
world.
talking about
and then
No,
Catwoman,
he's doing it again.
Selena Kyle is sitting there telling Bruce
Right.
Wayne, one day all you rich fucks are going to get yours in the end, so you better
Right.
get prepared for the storm. And so you could say that Bane is the storm that comes in, especially when he's
But
pushing around these brokers.
Bruce Wayne is that rich fuck who saves the city again and again. I mean,
Well, actually, he was a rich guy who
Well,
got
anyways,
broke.
I mean, we are getting off on a tangent. I
But
mean,
anyway,
we
let's
can agree to
all right,
disagree. But
all
the
right.
point I was going to say is like the biggest failing for the movie is the decision that not only does Batman have to die, but Bruce Wayne has to die with Batman, and that made no sense to me. Why does Bruce Wayne have to die with
Well,
Batman?
I have some other problems
Why?
that make sense. It's number one. Okay.
He could do just as much good as
Here.
Bruce Wayne.
Here's what annoyed me is where you have Bruce Wayne, Batman, in this prison. He escapes. How the fuck does he get back to Gotham City? That's a big problem for me because you don't even know where the fuck he is. He could be in some other third world
And I
country.
know they kind of like try to give you an idea what the time frame is, his being there by seeing like the newscasts and stuff, but still, it felt like you had no idea. Like, was he in there for months? Okay, if he was in there for that long, what was Bane waiting for then?
Exactly.
He could have done his like this.
Yeah. And then the other problem I have is where people were going to, Bane was basically going to destroy this town no matter what. There was a bomb, and it had it was like a timer. It was like a timer.
And was he like conveniently waiting for Bruce Wayne to like recover and escape from the
Yeah,
prison?
it's like if he was going to blow up. See, this is what I thought what Bane was going to do. You're talking about his plot. Here's what my interpretation of what it was until it was pulled from underneath me. I thought that Bane wanted to show that people can destroy themselves. That's what he wanted to do. I thought the whole thing is that if he tells people there's a bomb that's going to destroy, but then he doesn't actually destroy. He lets people kill themselves and fuck each other over. That's what I thought should have happened.
There was like the twist at the end where Marion Cotillard turns out to be Talia al Ghul. And I thought that, okay, yeah, the setup was like clever.
It was clever.
But at the same time, it was an unnecessary thing to do. To me, anyways, I would have thought it would have been so much more interesting if they revealed who that character was earlier in the film, so then we get a chance to get to know her as that character. Because otherwise, she was just basically an afterthought.
Well, I don't know. Then you'd have to rejigger some stuff in the screenplay or something because it's already like a 2.5-hour film.
They could have.
So
there was a point where she no longer had to be top.
I think it was clever. I think it was clever how they did it. But in a way, I kind of agree with you that we could have gotten a little bit more from her to give her more of a story. But I still think it was such a clever thing that, and what's funny is like I said, I'm a fan of the comic books, I'm a fan of the mythos, and somehow I didn't see that coming. And then when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, there it is. And I think she was a perfect casting choice.
I think that after she got her hand on the device, remember her whole thing was to like assume this identity until she got her, where like they turned over the device to her or whatever. Then she should have revealed who she was. That's when you could have done it. But I think like Nolan does this a lot, where he like tries to overcomplicate his scripts with like a twist or something, or some sleight of hand stuff where you think one thing's going on, but no, really something else is. And I just felt like, as clever as that was, I just felt it was so unnecessary.
I will just say that I thoroughly enjoyed this film.
I had a good time with it. I thought it was good.
Matter of fact, I think
I liked it.
I think I may have enjoyed this one more than The Dark Knight Rises.
I will say.
I'm sorry, The Dark Knight.
I will say this is the more comic booky of the two films. This is where it becomes it's more of a comic book type film.
That doesn't mean that I agreed on all of his choices. Like when you talked about the Bane origin, on how it kind of gets fuzzy towards the end. I agree with that, but yet it didn't bring me out of the picture. And I also
You didn't
like
think that at the end his character was somewhat diminished to the point where it's like, we were talking about the James Bond film world is not enough, where like the
Right.
Robert Carlyle character becomes the weekend because Sophie Marceau turns out to be a
I
real
just
villain.
found him to be.
And he's just in
Actually,
love.
that's a very similar.
No,
But I found his love for Talia to be so single-minded that he would blow himself up with a city. That's how demented he was and single.
I
Not
agree
so
with
much
you.
demented, but
Because
single-minded.
That's what kept him going while he was in that prison, was taking care of her.
Yeah,
I think
and
that's why his emotion was.
this guy, his love for Talia was gonna make him do anything, including crushing a city under his boot, destroying the reputation. Well, not so much. It seemed like Batman, destroying Batman was like a side thing. It was just getting revenge on this. Well, I guess no. Because it was getting revenge on Batman, and what better way to get revenge on Batman was to destroy Gotham, the city that he loves and protects and everything.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
It was taking revenge for the death of Ra's al Ghul.
Right, exactly.
Which I think was a very good payoff. And what I
don't know how in the world we've talked this long about The Dark Knight Rises and haven't brought up Anne Hathaway once.
I was about to do that right now.
She's fucking fantastic.
Well, let's not forget who else is terrific in this, and a welcome addition was
let's talk about
Joseph Gordon-Levitt as well. Both of them were excellent.
He's good, but there's towards the end with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, there's odd stuff going on. Like, I still can't figure out how he can sit there and show the National Guard guy his ID. He's a cop. He's got a bus full of children. Yet the National Guard guy's like, nope, not gonna let you by.
Well,
no.
it's
that was a little stupid.
Yeah, and also like I thought it was a little too easy how he figured out that Bruce Wayne was Batman. It's just because I grew up the same way that you did, so it's because of that. I know
That
who
was
you
that
are.
was very clunky.
It was a little clunky.
That was very clunky.
And I fucking hate. I have this that ending part when he reveals what his real name was. That was just.
That was gay.
That,
That was gay.
Okay. Oh, Eric, you had a. I'm going to take credit.
Wait
for
a
this.
second. Anne Hathaway.
I'll get
yes,
into that.
Anne Hathaway's great.
Anne Hathaway gives a very completely
Anne
different
Hathaway's
take on the
really
character.
I never much cared for Anne Hathaway in many, many films
The only
that
thing I've
she's
ever liked
done.
her is this.
And I watched her in this. I'm like, holy shit, she's amazing. She's phenomenal. And it's funny. In the first film, it's the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Alfred. In the second film, it's between Bruce Wayne and his alter ego, his dark half, the Joker. And in this one, it's a love story, I think. And it's all about it's kind of how far love will carry you, not only from the perspective of Bane and Talia, but it's the perspective of Batman and Catwoman, or Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle.
Anyway, I think the best film, of course, The Dark Knight. This one would probably be a close second, followed by the first film, The Batman Begins. I think they're all terrific films. When you see this film, what makes you sad is that it's the end of Chris Nolan's trilogy, and you wish there was another one. But it's an excellent film. There is some problems I had with it. There is one thing you mentioned that did annoy me. I have to mention this before we go. At the end, when Batman makes his appearance back into the city, the bridge just happens to light up with the Batman logo. You were so right about that.
How
did he get up
like,
there?
how the fuck did he do that? It
And
was
why?
one of those weird picky. I know I'm nitpicking, but it's one of those moments that took
You
me
are
out of the
definitely
movie.
nitpicking.
Well, how would he? Well, explain that to me. How would he have done that?
Fireworks?
No.
Anyway, I'm Edwin Samuelson. This was the CineFiles Batman Chris Nolan universe show.
And I'll enjoy reading the
Hey, I'm wrapping up, guys.
the transcription
Anyway,
underneath this
goodbye.
show when it's
Do
done.
that over again.
All right. Okay. I'm Edwin Samuelson. This was our Batman show.
Hide your fingers and press
Okay, I'll do it again. I'm Edwin Samuelson. This was our Chris Nolan Batman show.
Why do you have to reintroduce yourself at the end? I don't understand
Okay,
that. Like,
I was Edwin Samuelson. This was the CineFiles. This was our Batman show. That's it. I'm out of here. Bye.
Mr. Samuelson!
Is that allowed?
Yeah.